What's up, everybody? It's me, Anthony, and it's the time of the week again. It's Anthony's NFL Picks. Week 9. Heard me right, we are now halfway through this NFL season, and this season has gone by very quickly already. Halfway, we're 50% there, and this season has been very awkward for me, which is very weird because, again, a lot of weird stuff has happened. I didn't know the Vikings were going to start off good without losing, their star quarterback. They're kind of falling apart. We'll get to that later. I didn't know my Commanders would do great, which we're going to talk about later. But anyway, I'm very excited to start things off. And, I'm wishing you guys the best. And thank you so much for making me hit 30 subscribers. This channel's starting to grow a little bit, which is very good. And also another thing before we start, just like the video, subscribe, and turn on the notification bells to get updated on my newest content. My overall record now this season is 73-50, which is really good. And last week I did okay, went 9-7. But anyway, enough with this intro. Let's begin and let's get things started. So before we start, we got two teams that will not be playing for this week. They are on bye week, and they are the 4-4 49ers and the 6-2 Steelers will not be playing for this week. Anyways, let's get things started and let's go. So kicking it off for Thursday Night Football, aka Halloween edition, we got the 6-2 Texans and the 2-6 Jets. Texans are here after winning against the Colts, very close game, 23-20. However, the Texans have suffered a pretty bad loss just now. I just found out that Stephon Diggs is out for the whole season with a torn ACL, which is a huge disadvantage for Houston, which is going to cause them a lot of problems because also Nico Collins is also hurt, suffering that injury back in October, but he may return in the 10th of November, which is not a big deal. But they're taking on the Jets, who completely imploded and lost to the Patriots 25-22. Aaron Rodgers looks very washed up. I think he may retire at the end of this season because he's really old. I thought they were going to be good with Davante Adams. They would, change things a little bit, but then all of a sudden they just starting to fall apart. So I'm going to have to go with the Texans. Despite the injuries the Texans have, I still think they could beat the Jets. The Jets are just a bad team all around. Texans will beat the Jets 27-3. Texans will be 7-2. The Jets will be 2-7. We move on with the next game. Coming up at our next game, we got an NFC South matchup between the 2-6 Saints and the 1-7 Panthers, the battle of the worst teams. Saints are here after losing to the Chargers 26-8. Spencer Rattler was starting, and I think he may be starting this weekend. However, I think Derek Carr may finally come back after that injury he suffered on Monday Night Football with an oblique injury against the Chiefs on Monday Night Football, which is a huge loss for the Saints. They were 2-0, and they have lost 6 straight ever since. They completely fell apart. They're in second to last with Carolina, but I still think they could beat the Panthers because the Panthers are here after getting completely knocked out by Denver, 28-14. Bryce Young was actually starting because Andy Dalton was in a car accident last week. And Bryce Young got a touchdown in the beginning, and then all of a sudden, the Panthers just decided to fall apart, and they just lost the game. And to be honest, the Panthers are probably going to get Carson Beck in this draft. It's just Carolina team is just sad to watch, and I don't even know why this is a matchup, but, I'm going to have to go with the Saints on this one. Saints will finally end their 6-game losing streak and finally beat down Carolina. Saints will beat the Panthers 24-6. Saints will be 3-6. The Panthers will be 1-8. We move on with our next game. Coming up at our next game, we got my 6-2 Commanders taking on the 2-6 Giants. Hail to the Commanders, baby. I'm so happy. And fun fact, I'm actually going to this game on Sunday with my father because my birthday is next week, which is a huge happy birthday to me. And I'm really hoping the Commanders will beat the Giants for my birthday because I went to a game on my birthday 2 years ago. I went in D.C. with my dad against the Vikings. They blew that game 20-17. Hopefully they'll be different. This is in MetLife Stadium. My Commanders are here after that crazy win against the Bears in D.C. with that Hail Mary pass by Jaden Daniels to Noah Brown. I lost my voice a little bit from it, actually. I was screaming. I was very happy. I did not expect that to happen. I was completely ecstatic. I was shocked. And now we're going to be on the road now against the Giants, who are here after losing to the Steelers 26-18. However, that Giant defense is still really good, though. I think the Commanders could beat the Giants, but it would be a pretty good fight, though, because the Giants have a great defense, and I know Daniel Jones is the issues because, Daniel Jones is not a good quarterback. I still think that the Commanders will win this game, but it's going to be a close game, though. Hopefully they make my birthday wish come true. Hey, Commanders, if you're watching this, please make my birthday wish come true. It'd be greatest. Please. Thank you. Anyways, Commanders will beat the Giants 21-17. Commanders will be 7-2. Hopefully the Giants will be 2-7. We move on with the next game. Coming up at our next game, we got an AFC East matchup. This time, we got the 2-5 Dolphins and the 6-2 Bills. Dolphins are here after choking that last-second game against the Cardinals, 28-27, losing, but that last-second kick by the Cardinals. Matt Prater is an amazing kicker. I don't know if he's still there, but they're getting better, Arizona. Now they're going on to Buffalo against the Bills, who completely destroyed Seattle 31-10. Buffalo is doing an amazing job with Amari Cooper now on that team. I think Buffalo will continue and sweep Miami this season. The Dolphins are just not a good team. And Tua had a complete, he didn't want to wear that helmet, that guardian cap after suffering that concussion week 2. And fun fact, they're taking on the team that gave him the concussion week 2 in Buffalo in week 9 in Buffalo this time. But I still think Buffalo will continue to keep their winning streak up. I think they're going to continue to go undefeated in the division. They're 2-0 in their division. They beat the Dolphins week 2, and they beat the Jets on Monday night in week 6. So it just makes sense for me to go with Buffalo. Bills will beat the Dolphins 31-20. Bills will be 7-2. Dolphins will be 2-6. We move on with the next game. Coming up at our next game, we got the 4-3 Chargers and the 2-6 Browns. Both teams are coming back from wins. Chargers are here after completely beating down Spencer Rattler and the Saints 26-8. The Chargers are doing a little bit better. Justin Herbert's had a great game. I think they're going to beat the Browns. However, the Browns are here after shockingly beating the Ravens with famous Jameis 29-24 with that crazy upset over Baltimore, which I was surprised because I thought the Browns were going to be bad without Deshaun Watson after suffering that season-ending Achilles injury. However, they found a way to win. And now they're going on to be against the Chargers, which is going to be a pretty good game, though. But I still think that the Chargers could win. But I was fighting with myself this morning while writing the script. I think the Browns could upset the Chargers. But I still, because, the Browns are a pretty good team with Jameis now. And they got Nick Chubb is back from his injury, suffered back in last September. But I still think the Chargers will win because the Chargers are a better team at the end of the day. Chargers will beat the Browns 22-19. Chargers will now be 5-3. The Browns will be 2-7. We move on with the next game. Coming up at our next game, we got a tank battle. We got a battle of the garbage bowl. We got the 2-6 Patriots and the 1-6 Titans. Patriots are here after beating the Jets somehow 25-22. I thought they were going to lose to New York because the Jets got Devontae Adams. They have been 0-2 ever since they got him. They just look really bad, that Jets team. But the Patriots saw a big improvement, though, in beating the Jets somehow. But they're going on to Tennessee against the 1-6 Titans with Mason Rudolph starting the game. And they completely imploded against the Lions 52-14. They completely got blown out by them. And to be honest, they put up a good fight in the beginning, but I still think that the Patriots could have a possible shot of winning the game because the Patriots are a whole lot better team. Will Levis is not good. I don't know if he's even playing. He suffered an injury, and now Mason Rudolph is stepping in, which is a huge bad thing for the Titans. They're just not a good team. I think they're going to probably get a new quarterback, either Jalen Milroe or Shedeur Sanders. We don't know who it's going to be, but I still think the Patriots will win this game. Patriots will beat the Titans 17-13. Patriots will continue their 2-game winning streak at a 3-6 record. The Titans will now be 1-7. We move on with the next game. Coming up at our next game, we got the 3-4 Cowboys and the 5-3 Falcons. Cowboys are here after completely losing that game on Sunday night against the 49ers, 30-24. Dak Prescott threw his helmet. He got very upset in that game. When I went to bed watching the game, it was 10-6 Cowboys. I thought they were going to win because, again, the 49ers had a lot of injuries. They were very banged up. They're going on to Atlanta against the hot Atlanta Falcons, who beat the Buccaneers. Even though the Buccaneers were beat up 31-26, I still think Atlanta could win this game because the Falcons are doing an amazing job with Kirk Cousins. I'm still kind of confused why they would draft Penix because it's apparently for the future, but they could have gotten Dallas Turner. Their defense would have been really good. But I still think that the Falcons will hold on and beat down Dallas. I don't even know if Micah Parsons may even return this week. He was out with that injury against the 49ers, so that's a huge loss for the Cowboys. But I still think Atlanta will win this game. It's in Atlanta, so it's an advantage over, the Cowboys. Falcons will beat the Cowboys 29-24. Falcons will be going on to be 6-3. Cowboys will be on 3-5. We move on with the next game. Coming up at our next game, we got a pretty good game actually. We got the 5-3 Broncos and the 5-3 Ravens. One team is coming back from a win, which is the Broncos. They're here after winning against the Panthers, beating them 28-14. This is going to be a really good game. It's in Baltimore, and they're both 5-3. They're both, doing an amazing job. Bo Nix is really turning this Broncos team around. After what happened with Russell Wilson's tenure there, they've just been bad. But now, he's bringing potential to Denver, along with the Chargers with Jim Harbaugh. I think they could put up a fight against the Ravens, but the Ravens are angry after that loss against the Browns. And it's also going to be in Baltimore, so it's obviously to say that the Ravens will have a shot of winning against the Broncos here. But this is going to be a really good game, though, so I think Baltimore will win this game. Ravens will beat the Broncos 36-22. Ravens will be on to be 6-3. The Broncos will be 5-4. We move on with the next game. Coming up at our next game, we got the 2-6 Raiders and the 3-5 Bengals. Both teams are coming back from losses. The Raiders are here after losing to the Chiefs in a close game, 27-20. Turns out Gardner Minshew is not a great quarterback, however. He's just been bad. But however, the Raiders also got Desmond Ridder as well as a backup, I think, which is just bad. I think the Raiders may get a quarterback. I think they might either get Jalen Milroe or either Cam Ward. It could be any quarterback, or Quinn Ewers. But they really need a quarterback, the Raiders. I don't think Antonio Pierce is the issue. I think he may keep his job. I don't know yet. But they're going on to Cincinnati against the 3-5 Bengals, who lost to the Eagles in that game, 37-17. T. Higgins was out with an injury, and, he may be returning this game. So I guess it's a good shot for the, Bengals to regroup and rebound and beat down the Raiders. Bengals will beat the Raiders 19-7. Bengals will be 4-5. Raiders will be 2-7. We move on with the next game. Coming up at our next game, we got a revenge game between the 2-6 Jaguars and the 5-2 Eagles. The Jaguars are here after losing that close game against the Packers, 30-27. They lost that close game and because of Jordan Love got hurt, but we'll get to Jordan Love later. This is a revenge game for Doug Peterson, taking on his former team. He used to coach the Eagles. He actually coached the Eagles to win Super Bowl 52 against the Patriots back in 2018, 6 years ago, almost 7 years ago. Jesus, I feel old. However, the Eagles are here after completely beating the Bengals. So I think the Eagles will continue that winning streak. They have been undefeated ever since their bye week. I think they're going to beat Jacksonville. The Jaguars are a really struggling team. They really need to get things all situated. I think they could either get Travis Hunter in the draft or somebody else, or, the Patriots may get him, but I still think the Eagles will pull on top. It's in Lincoln Financial. And fun fact, this was supposed to be a Sunday Night Football matchup. However, they pushed it to this game because another game is going to be on Sunday night. We'll get to that later. But I still think the Eagles will win this game and beat down the Jaguars. Eagles will beat the Jaguars 30-21. Eagles will go on to be 6-2. Jaguars will be 2-7. We move on with our next game. Coming up at our next game, we got a pretty good game. We got the 4-3 Bears and the 4-4 Cardinals. Bears are here after losing to that last-second game against my Commanders in that Hail Mary pass by Jaden Daniels. Bears players, but I chose the Bears last week, so it's my loss, but still. The Bears completely imploded against my Commanders, which was amazing. However, they're going on to Arizona, who against the hot 4-4 Cardinals after they won with that last-second kick against the Dolphins. They have been really good. I'm really looking forward to Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, I'm on and off with him sleeping because his dad was an amazing player with the Colts. I think he could do the same thing with the Cardinals, Marvin Harrison Jr. I think they will beat down the Bears. It's in Arizona. They have an advantage. So it just makes sense for me to go with the Cardinals on this one. The Bears have a hard schedule coming up. They were very easy. They looked really good at a 4-2 record. Now they're 4-3, but I still think they will continue to lose because they have a really tough schedule coming up soon. So I still think Arizona may pull off a win here. Very close game, though. Cardinals will beat the Bears 16-13. Cardinals will be 5-4. The Bears will be 4-4. We move on with the next game. Coming up at our next game, we got an NFC West matchup between a showdown between the 3-4 Rams and the 4-4 Seahawks. Rams are here after winning that controversial game against the Vikings on Thursday Night Football, 30-20, with that uncalled face mask penalty, which led the Rams to get to a safety and beating Minnesota, upsetting them, which I knew was going to happen. I knew there was going to be an upset, but I still think that they're going to lose against Seattle. They're 4-4. They're here after losing to Buffalo. This is going to be in Seattle, so it just makes sense for me to go with Seattle. The Seahawks, they kind of were on and off. They were 3-0. Then they lost 3 straight. Then they won against Atlanta, and then they lost against Buffalo. So it's going to be a cycle, though, but I still think that Seattle will win this game and beat the Rams because the Rams are kind of rebuilding. Matthew Stafford's getting old, and and Cooper Kupp may possibly leave. I don't know yet. But I still think that the Rams will lose this game, but I think Seattle will be on top because it's in Seattle. So it just makes sense for me to go with the Seahawks. Seahawks will beat the Rams 33-27. Seahawks will be 5-4. Rams will be 3-5. We move on with our next game. Coming up at our next game, we got a pretty good matchup. It's an NFC North matchup and first place for the North and the conference in total between the 6-2 Lions and the 6-1 Lions and the 6-2 Packers. Lions are here after completely obliterating the Tennessee Titans 52-14. Jared Goff did an amazing job with that team. He's been doing really good, and then, Hendon Hooker actually stepped in because he's been playing so well. However, they're going on to Lambeau Field against the Packers, and a lot of people in the comments, or one person in the comment, keeps saying the Packers are a good team. However, the Packers could be in some trouble, because Jordan Love suffered a groin injury in the third quarter against Jacksonville, which led to Malik Willis starting. However, this is a very hard game against the Lions, who completely, coming back from, destroying Tennessee. And it's going to be a close game, though, but I think Detroit may win this game. I was going to go with an upset, but I realized, Jordan Love may not be playing in this game, though, and I understand how, Malik Willis stepped in very well against them when when Jordan Love got hurt in the Brazil game back in week 1. But I still think the Lions will win this game because the Lions are a better team overall because, Detroit, I really hope they go far this season or even win the Super Bowl. I don't know because, Kansas City. But I still think Detroit will win this game even though it's in Green Bay. And I'm sorry to Packer fans out there. Lions will beat the Packers 30-24. The Lions will be 7-1. The Packers will be 6-3. We move on with the next game. Coming up next for Sunday Night Football, we got the 4-4 Colts and the 5-2 Vikings. Both teams are coming back from losses. The Colts are here after losing to the Texans. Close game, 23-20. Anthony Richardson is benched, however, for Joe Flacco again because apparently him and Shane Steichen, the Colts coach, got into a little argument. And I talked to my dad about it this morning. He said Anthony Richardson's not a guy. I don't think he's going to be the answer. But I still think they're going to lose against Minnesota. The Vikings are here after losing 2 straight games. TJ Hawkinson is finally coming back after suffering that torn MCL back in December of last season. He's returning his debut back in Minnesota against the Colts. And I think the Vikings could possibly still have a shot of winning the NFC North, though. But, the Vikings I don't think are real contenders. I think they're frauds, possibly. I don't know. Because, back in 2016, they were undefeated. And then after that, they kind of fell apart, which is not good for them. And, I think that the Vikings will beat the Colts on this one, and I think they're going to regain from their 2-game losing streak. Vikings will beat the Colts 35-19. Vikings will be 6-2. The Colts will be 4-5, and we move on with the next game. And last but not least for Monday Night Football, we got the 4-4 Buccaneers taking on the undefeated 7-0 Chiefs. Buccaneers, they're here after losing against the Falcons with so many injuries. Mike Evans is not returning until the bye week, until he returns November 24th. However, they're in Kansas City against the 7-0 Chiefs, who are now undefeated now in their division, and they're still last undefeated team left at a 2-0 record in their division, and last undefeated team left in the league at a 7-0 record. I think the Chiefs may finish off undefeated this season like the 72 Dolphins or the 06 Patriots, where they lost the Super Bowl against the Giants. But still, I think that the Chiefs will continue to be undefeated, and I think they're going to beat the Buccaneers. I'm going to go with Kansas City on this one. I'm going to go with them. Chiefs will beat the Buccaneers 23-9. The Chiefs will be 8-0 and remain undefeated. The Buccaneers will be 4-5. And before we go, I forgot to mention to you, the Ravens actually got Dante Johnson from the Panthers, which means the Panthers are going to be bad this game anyway. But still, those are all my NFL picks for Week 9 of the NFL season. Tune in for next week for Anthony's NFL Picks Week 10, which will be premiering next Tuesday, November 5th, 2024. And the day after is actually my birthday. Fun fact, I'll be 19. But anyway, this is Anthony signing off, and have a great week.